Okay, so your practice is growing, but you feel like it's so hard to kind of keep going with it. It's like, wait a minute. My practice is growing, but I can't keep up with everything. You're working more hours for sure, right? You're more stressed, you're anxious, and you're like, wait a minute. But we're growing. So you try to justify it, right? You try to justify like, well, we're growing. This is what we all wanted. But it's just not quite working anymore. Well, you just discovered this idea of what works now doesn't mean it works later. You see, this is what I've been talking about for so many years, ever since I had my own practice. And I would be, my practice would be growing, but I would feel more anxious. I'd feel more stressed. I'd be overwhelmed. I'd be working more. I'd be doing more things. And I'm like, I can't keep this up. And what happened is I realized that the systems that I have in place, the processes of how we do things, couldn't keep up with the growth, couldn't keep up with the demand. Have you ever heard the term implosion? Well, implosion is when you start to grow so quickly and you get so big that the internal systems and structure just can't handle it and everything starts to fall through. And that's what happens. It's actually supposed to happen that way. Let me tell you this. Yes or no? If you had a $500,000 a year practice, do you think it could support a $2 million a year practice? Please don't say yes. Please don't say yes. The answer is no. What supports a $500,000 business cannot support a $2 million business because there's more complexity in the business. There's more staff. There's more people coming in and out. There's more administrative stuff. Even if you add technology, there's just more stuff happening. And that's where we make mistake. You see, that's where the problem lies. The thing that frustrates me more than anything is when I see the gurus and the experts stand up. Don't you put me in that category. Don't you put me in that category. The other gurus and experts, they stand up and they say, here's how you do it. And I'm like, wait a minute. You can't stand up and say, here's how you do it, unless you're specifically saying, here's how you do it if you're at this level. Let me repeat that. What happens too often is that people get up and they start talking and they start sharing, strategies and you should be doing it this way and that way. But what I rarely hear, if ever, is, well, yeah, but what type of practice is this for? Is this for a practice that's $500,000 or this is a practice that's 500 or 5 million? We don't specify that, but that is critical. Because let's say your revenue is up. Things are going well. You got more patients. You got more staff. But your current systems is not designed for more patients and more staff. There becomes more confusion. And when there's more confusion, things don't work quite the same. Things get lost. Things get missed. The experience that worked really well when you were doing 40, 50,000 a month isn't working anymore. So now what happens? When your systems aren't capable of maintaining the growth, you start to see an increase in dropouts, increase in cancellations. You start to see a decrease in utilization, typically because you're hiring more staff and because your system doesn't keep them properly busy enough. You're basically just paying for empty slots. Your costs start going up, your expenses start going up, and guess what? Your income starts going down. It's literally the definition of working harder and making less. And that's what happens when we're not properly prepared to have the infrastructure and the systems in place to support the business, not only that you're at, but where you're moving towards. All right. Other big thing, by the way, is as the owner, you also become the bottleneck in these situations, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, I like to say, I wrote a couple notes down here. It's called the patchwork trap. You see, there's times where we make decisions to solve a problem that we're having in the moment, whatever the problem is. Could be we're having a bunch of cancellations. So we look at the cancellations, we're like, hey, let's start doing this now. It fixes it for half a minute, but it doesn't really solve the problem. You just kind of Band-Aid it together. I guess that's another word for patchwork. You just kind of Band-Aid the problem together. It's like a fracture, but we'll just wrap the fracture and hopefully it heals okay. But it doesn't. because there's too many things that are not working the right way. The biggest thing that needs to be upgraded is the idea of how you think about your business, your mindset, how you're solving problems. I'll tell you the biggest area that people struggle with is they struggle with getting over that $1 million mark. You start getting over that $1 million mark, your business definitely becomes more complex. Depending how much you get paid per visit, you could be seeing anywhere from 5 to 7 or 8 providers on your team. That's a lot of people to take care of. It's a lot of people to make sure that they're busy. You also need at least 1 administrative person for every 2 providers, something like that. So now you have 2, 3 administrative providers on there too. And depending on your model, there could be some ancillary help as well. That's a lot of people on your team. That's 10 to 15 people on your team. That's a lot different than having 4 or 5 people on your team and $500,000. So that $1 million mark, things start to get more and more difficult, and it's important to start putting in place much more strict policies and procedures. However, this is kind of the paradox. If you put too much structure, sometimes you lose the flow and the culture of the business. So what do you do? Well, I'll tell you, the place that I start when I'm working with clients is I like to start with really getting clear on your vision. Your vision at $200,000, $300,000, even $400,000 a year may be different if your business starts getting up to like $1.5 million. You have more confidence, you have more experience, you start to see what's possible. So it's important to really get clear on the vision. The other thing that becomes increasingly important is your values, what your standards are, what you believe. Your business is only going to grow to your standards. And if your standards are not well defined, then as you start to grow, people just kind of start doing whatever they think they should be doing because there isn't a lot of clear behaviors that are really dialed in, whether we call them values or standards or belief. As you begin to grow, we need these behaviors really implemented into the day-to-day of the practice. We can't oversee every little thing that somebody does, and we don't want to over-engineer it with too many systems and too many processes because we lose the feel of things. So we need to get really better at hiring really good people, onboarding them, training them, making sure we're clear on what we expect, and then, increase the communication that we have with people, right? It needs to be more organized. So I can't tell you how many people I talk to that don't have like regular week-to-week meetings. They're like, oh, we don't have time. Well, if you don't have time to communicate with your team, you're in trouble. So having more clear communication, having a clear vision, having a clear values in place, this helps you. And then, of course, making sure you understand what a system is. A system is a way of doing something in a way that it's going to give you more or less a predictable result. It could be a checklist. It could be 4 steps to do X. It could be, this is how we answer the phone. This is our billing policy. This is how we generally bill for things. This is how we onboard our new hires. All of these become increasingly important as you grow. If you don't do it, you get disengagement from the team. You get frustration from the team. Like I said before, you're going to get people that are more confused, and confused people don't. They just don't. They don't engage as much. They start doing their own things. So let me just wrap it up here. When it comes to growth, you got to make sure that you have the foundation and the infrastructure, which is your systems and processes, in place. And it requires you, the owner, to get clear on where this company is going, and you put in the values in place. Then you look to see where is there confusion, and you look to fix that with clarity, with a process. Doesn't mean you have to do all the processes. You can have your staff do them. Let your staff write it down or take a video or something like that. They're in that part of the business. They probably know more about that than you do. If you feel stuck with this, if you feel like I'm just having trouble get over the hump, I start to work hard and it just doesn't work, it's not a sign of failure. You don't want to beat yourself up. It's just a sign you need to put in more structure and a better foundation. You need to shift how you think, and you need to take a different perspective on that. And frankly, that's where a coach comes in. That's where a coach helps you, helps to see where your business is at and starts helping you put the infrastructure in place so you can grow like from 1 million to 2 million or 3 million. If not, you just continue to struggle. So I hope that helps. If you like to see more videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I hope you get a lot of benefit and value from doing this. I love working with practice owners. We are here. I like to say we are healers that are healing the world. So you keep doing your thing and keep learning how to build an amazing business that is helping so many people. And don't forget, help yourself, take care of yourself as well. See you next time.